Have you ever thought about the effects and power of silence in our daily lives? And have you ever heard of how voluntary silence can even help our body's self-healing processes? In a frenetic world in which we are all chasing commitments and goals of all kinds, we should stop for a moment and reflect on how to remain silent. In this video, thanks to a Zen story, we will see what the enormous benefits of silence are for both our physical and mental health. And if you stay until the end, you will discover a simple tip to be able to make silence one of the most powerful forms of relaxation and self-healing. But before continuing, if you are not yet among us, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to know when we publish new content for your spiritual growth. In the quiet garden of a Japanese monastery, while the petals of the lotus flowers danced lightly in the evening wind, the elderly monk Kaito was preparing to begin a lesson on the power of silence. Ancient and modern philosophical and spiritual traditions have always emphasized the importance of silence. Kaito began. "The silence I speak of, dear disciples, is not the simple absence of sounds, nor is it isolation from the rest of the world. Rather, it is a voluntary condition that offers an opportunity for internal reflection and connection with our deepest essence." His eyes scanned the attentive faces of his disciples as he continued, "In the rush of modern life, silence is often overlooked, but it is a precious resource for our overall well-being." One of the students raised his hand, eager to ask a question. "But how can we fully understand the benefits of silence, Master Kaito?" The monk smiled slightly. "Imagine the silence as a blank canvas," he said, pointing to the placid water of the pond. "Just as the surface of this pond clearly reflects the moon without distortion, so silence allows us to reflect without interference from the outside world." "But what are the beneficial effects of silence on the body and mind?" another student asked. Kaito nodded in understanding and replied, "Silence is like medicine for the soul that acts on multiple levels, bringing tangible relief to our existence." Let's first consider stress reduction. In an increasingly frenetic and chaotic world, it is easy to fall victim to stress and anxiety. Silence, however, offers us a refuge, an oasis of calm where tensions melt away like snow in the sun. Through the practice of silence, we can experience a sense of inner peace that soothes our worries and regenerates our spirit, giving us mental well-being and emotional balance. Kaido took a moment to observe his students' expressions, trying to grasp the understanding in their eyes. "Restorative sleep is another precious gift of silence," he continued. "Too often we find ourselves struggling with insomnia and restless nights, disturbed by thoughts and worries that torment us. However, immersing ourselves in silence before bed can set the stage for a deep and restful sleep. With our mind free from noise and distractions, we can completely abandon ourselves to the sweet embrace of sleep, regenerating body, mind, and spirit." The monk breathed deeply, allowing his words to penetrate the souls of his disciples. "But silence is not only a remedy for our ills," he continued with eyes full of enthusiasm. "It is also an inexhaustible source of mental clarity and creativity. When we immerse ourselves in silence, in fact, we let the troubled waters of our mind calm down, allowing thoughts to emerge with clarity and lucidity. In this state of inner stillness, we discover new perspectives and innovative solutions to problems we were unable to manage, and a creative flow that flows free like a raging river and allows us to achieve great things." The monk lingered on this last point, feeling the energy rising in the air around him. "And let's not forget about emotional well-being," he added calmly. "Silence allows us to come into contact with our deepest emotions, to explore them without judgment or fear. Through the practice of silence, we learn to recognize accept, and transform our emotions. And this leads us towards greater serenity and greater inner balance. Another opportunity that silence offers us, Cato continued, is to concentrate and deepen our awareness. In silence, we can put aside external distractions and connect with the present moment in all its fullness. With a focused mind and an open heart, we become aware of the subtle nuances of life, discovering the beauty and richness hidden in every moment. With these words, Cato fell into a meditative silence, allowing his disciples to reflect on the profound truths he had just shared. The students listened attentively, absorbing the words of the wise monk, and he continued, "However, it is important to understand the difference between silence as a form of escape and silence as a tool for healing and spiritual growth. Silence for its own sake can only be a way to avoid life's problems, while therapeutic and meditative silence allows us to face challenges with clarity and compassion." Another student raised her hand shyly. "Master, can we have an example of how silence can be a form of spiritual healing?" Kaito nodded, bowing his head slightly in approval. "Imagine yourself in a forest, surrounded by rustling leaves and singing birds," he said. "In that moment, let the silence penetrate you like a cool breeze, calming your agitated mind. Soon, you will find that your worries dissolve into the silence, and you will discover an inner peace that you have never known before." After speaking about the spiritual aspects and benefits of practicing silence, the monk moved on to the impact this practice has on our physical health. Silence not only has a profound influence on our spirit, but also on our well-being physicist. Buddhist monks have understood the correlation between silence, meditative practices, and improved blood pressure and heart health for centuries. And over the past few decades, several scientific studies have shown that silence can lower blood pressure, thus reducing the risk of hypertension. And hypertension, as you may have heard, is commonly known as the silent killer because it can affect and create serious problems for our hearts without us realizing it. This is why it is so important to become aware of how silence can positively influence this aspect of our health. Think that thanks to a study carried out in the early 2000s, continued Cato, it was discovered that even just 2 minutes of silence after listening to music had a significant impact on reducing the heart rate and blood pressure of participants. The monk took a moment to allow his disciples to absorb this crucial information, then added, "In addition to blood pressure, silence can positively affect overall heart health. In fact, by reducing stress and tension, which are often associated with the noise and frenzy of modern life, silence can protect the heart from cardiovascular diseases." So, you see, silence is not only an internal experience, but also has an impressive range of tangible benefits for our physical health. It is a precious treasure that we should cultivate and appreciate in our search for balance and well-being. A young monk looked up, reflecting on the master's words, "But how can we cultivate this silence in our daily lives?" The monk smiled, pleased by the question. "Voluntary silence requires conscious effort," he explained. "It means seeking moments of tranquility and peace, which go beyond the elimination of external sounds. You must commit to carving out moments to dedicate to this practice every day, so that day after day you can see the results both physically and mentally. Remember, dear disciples, that silence is a precious ally on the path to inner peace and overall well-being. It is through it that we can rediscover ourselves, restore balance, and connect with our deepest essence." Then, the monk looked into his students' eyes, conveying to them a sense of serenity and wisdom, and added, "Voluntary silence should not be seen as an occasional luxury, but as a daily necessity." And to make silence become an integral part of our busy lives, you don't need to apply complicated strategies. It's important that you dedicate some time each day to cultivating it. Find a quiet place, even if it's only for 15 minutes a day. Cato advised, sit or lie down, breathe deeply, and let the silence envelop you. Enjoy the present moment without distractions, and remember, silence is an art that is learned with constant practice and perseverance.